Hi everyone, and welcome back to Balkans, the show that's going to help you navigate the massive challenges of life, motherhood, culture, identity and belonging with more ease, acceptance, joy and purpose. Thanks to each and every one of you that come back every time to listen, learn, heal and feel inspired. If you do love the podcast, then do me a huge favour and hit the subscribe button. It really does help spread the word.
Ćao svima, moje ime je Laura Marin I dobrodošli na Balkans podcast.
And ladies, my Balkan sisters, that was my fellow guest, Laura Marin. I am so excited. And I know you guys think that I'm always excited. I think that's going to be my nickname from now on, Mrs. Excited, Ivana Excited, because I just get to do the coolest stuff and hang with the coolest people. Laura, I found online. As many of you would know her, she's a fabulous singer, a beautiful personality, and a very talented and smart young lady. So that was her little introduction. I'm not going to bore you with the details because I want you to listen to the episode. It's a really good one today. I can't believe that throughout the whole episode, I actually forgot to ask her how she learned to play the guitar out of the whole conversation we had. We couldn't fit it all in. She woke up so early to talk to me. I'm so privileged and humbled that I get to just create epic content with epic people all over the world and bring you just lighthearted and good fun and also serious stuff to this podcast. So I wanted to invite Laura because of her Balkan connection with her singing, but I don't want to give away too many details. There is so many things afterwards that I wish that I had asked her. But, you know, as the conversation goes on and you're drinking your coffee and you're having fun and you're talking, you sort of leave the script on the side, even though I had questions that I had prepared. So I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. I've also got a special episode coming out this Sunday with David from An Englishman in the Balkans. He is a fabulous personality. He's an Englishman living in Bosnia-Herzegovina. And I've co-created and cooked up some epic stuff with him. And I was a guest on his podcast. So that episode is going to drop this Sunday night. And when he releases it on, his applications, I'm also going to release it here on Balkans. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I hope that you absolutely love this episode with Laura. Once again, if you loved it, please share it and send it to your loved ones. Laura has collectively almost 400,000 followers from TikTok to Instagram to YouTube. She got invited to sing with some epic stars, which I won't reveal the names of. You'll have to tune in and listen. And she has done extremely well for herself in the last 5 years. And I hope that you get to know her journey a little bit better and get to know her a little bit deeper outside of those short clips that you get to listen to. And I look forward to bringing you more epic guests and more epic stuff, and also a lot of stories and personal stories and anecdotes. And if you guys have any questions, please write to me, send me an email, get on Instagram, get on the social media platforms. I'm everywhere. So feel free to send me a message no matter where you're from. I always love connecting with you, ladies. So anyway, I'm going to be rambling, so I better get off the microphone now and head into the episode with Laura. Enjoy. Ciao. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Balkans. Yes, I say the same thing every single time. I am so excited about today's guest. How can I not be? To me, she's a global superstar. Maybe they know her from the internet. It's the beautiful Laura Marin. She's joining me today from Spain, and I'm so privileged that she's having a chat with me today about music, about love, about family, about culture. And it's such a pleasure to have her here. And let's dive straight in. Laura, welcome. Kako si?
Thank you so much. Dobro sam, u redu je, baš je rano ovdje u Španiji. 6:30, ali super. Hvala ti na pozivu, hvala ti.
That's awesome. I hvala što, thank you for getting up so early. Evo ja opet već miješam jezike. Navikla sam tako i kod kuće sa familijom. But today we're going to be talking in English purely for the fact that it's just our go-to language, I guess, for everybody who's listening. So for those of you who don't know, Laura, can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
I'm a really normal 19-year-old girl who's going to university and who likes languages and music. And I got famous in Balkan community in social media, in Instagram and TikTok, recording myself singing some Balkan songs. And yeah, that's everything actually. There's nothing really more interesting.
It is very interesting because I was thinking, did you do like an ancestry kit or a DNA or anything like that to find out? Because sometimes some people, when they have a likeness or an affiliation to something, a certain culture, sometimes it can be back in their bloodline too, like certain relations. Or was it purely, because I know you said you love different cultures and different languages. How did that love for different cultures come about when you were a young girl?
I always like other cultures. For me, it was always really interesting, but definitely the ex-Yugoslavia case, it's something bigger, really bigger than any other culture that I ever liked. And I never took a DNA test. It would be really interesting, but I know my heritage. Maybe my grandma lied to me and she had an affair with Mohammed or Sade. Maybe that happened, but I believe it didn't happen.
You never know. You never know. There's lots of stories that family don't tell us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's lots of stories that families fail to inform us on. But when did the sort of connection and the love for the Balkans start?
When I was 9 years old, I was just going through YouTube. And there's this show from America, Jim Henson's company, which is called Marin in the Blue House. It was really famous all over Europe. And I would watch it in Spanish and Portuguese. And I just remember how I watched a video with a lot of languages from this TV show. And the last one was from Serbia, from the Serbian television. And I just fell in love. Something clicked in me. I can explain it. And I'm so sad because all the time, every day, I got this question a lot of times for a lot of people. And I don't really have a reason. Just something clicked on me. And I just went with it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. And I know that the people love you and obsessed with you. And so how did you get over that fear of releasing music and releasing songs and getting yourself on camera? Because I know so many people talk to me about being afraid to do things. They're highly talented and they call that imposter syndrome. How was it for you? Was it just this natural thing where you thought, oh, why not? I'll put the phone, or was it a conscious decision, or did you have to really, work yourself up to do it, or was it just something that happened very naturally?
Sorry, I come from a generation where we just grew up with YouTube and with social media. I grew up with some YouTube stars from Spain and Latin America and South America. So it was really natural for me to start recording myself. I never had a fear, but obviously if you see, I don't know if they're available. I think they're not available at all. But if you see any of my covers from maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I look so different and my expressions are so different. It takes time. People ask me like, how do you act so naturally in camera? Because I have a lot of practice. That's how you do it.
That's right. And that's the thing. I think people just think, oh, yeah, you do something the first time and that's it. You're perfect. It's that repetition, right?
It never happens in that way.
That's not
for nothing.
Because before, even with us, all these technical glitches and issues and all of that. And even for you, some days you probably maybe don't feel like singing or sharing and you think, oh, I'll just do it anyway. And then becomes that practice and that habit.
Definitely.
Yeah. And what do your parents think about you, like singing these foreign songs in your room with your guitar? What was their first impression when you started taking interest?
Yeah. That is a question that I also get almost every day. And it's really funny because I was always that kind of person who wanted to know more. Like, I think no one is surprised, not my parents or anybody in my like environment, about the fact that I'm started to travel a lot and I'm started to take all these projects around Europe because I don't know, everybody tells me that when I was a child, it was obvious that I wanted something bigger, say that way, that I was really ambitious. But this whole process about Balkan culture and music, it was really slow. It started when I was 9 years old. It started really slow. And when I was 14, I started to learn the language, which I learned from English language. And nowadays I speak a lot of better our language like Serbo-Croatian, Bosnian, in English. I feel so much comfortable because of how much I use it in my everyday life. So it was really little by little. Also in social media, there wasn't really any like boom. It was really little by little. I didn't have all these followers from night to day. So yeah, they took it. At first, my mom didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Parents are just looking to protect you, right? They're just looking to don't put yourself out there for because people can criticize you and all that sort of stuff. But I believe if you have a gift, you should share it.
Thank you. I believe that too.
Yeah, and I think with that older generation, there's a little bit more stigma in sharing. Even when I go on platforms to talk about our story or my experiences through life, yeah, my dad's a little bit, oh, because, but at the end of the day, I think we just come from a different generation where I think your generation, more than even mine, is compelled to share even more, which I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I just think you find what works for you.
In my case, it wasn't like sharing the problem, but the fact that my goal was to reach other countries. Like, I understand them, they only hear about war. Maybe if I had a child and they wanted to go, I don't know, to Afghanistan or to Syria, I would be like, no, you don't want to be there. But now my mom, since we went to Sarajevo a couple of times, she's starting to like it. And now she's in a kind of like a depression because 2 weeks ago we were in Sarajevo for a week and she liked it so much and it was so comfortable, even though she doesn't speak English, she doesn't speak our language at all. She just wants to go back and to know other big cities from ex-Yugoslavia.
Mom is going to be your little, she's going to be in the group. She's going to be.
Yeah.
I love it. Mom's going to be the manager, I think. She's going to be managing it. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. And it's amazing how you've, through your music and your talent, even with that hesitation, you've opened up their sort of perception and their worldly views, which is really great. When you started learning the language, what came first? Was it just, I want to learn the language because I love the songs? When did you start learning more about the history and finding out what had transpired and all of that? What was your general, I guess, opinion about all of that? Because I know even you were saying before in some videos when you say Srpski, Hrvatski, language, people are very sensitive and get upset about that. So yeah, how do you deal with that whole element?
It wasn't something that I was searching to do because when I was 9 years old, it was so confusing. I didn't know what the language was from which country because when I was 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, I would learn in the school the map of Europe and they tell you Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia, but you have no idea what happened before. So I had no clue at all. I'm really young. I didn't see any of that in television at all. So it was more like something that just happened with the time that I wanted to know. And by the time I was 12 years old, I already knew about a lot about Tito and then the first Yugoslavia, Kraljevina Yugoslavia, and all the empires that were in the Balkans in the last centuries. And then when I was 14 years old, I had this desire to understand the language because I read like all the books there are in all the libraries from my city about the Balkans, but they were all in Galician in Spanish. And I knew that if I knew the language, I would get so much more information. And I would like also to understand the songs just by hearing them, because yeah, I can try and just something someone who translated it, but it's just not the same. You have to understand it to get the real emotions. And I'm so glad 14-year-old Laura wanted to do it and had the courage and the patience to do it.
That's amazing, because my husband tried to learn our
Mhm.
language and he struggled, poor guy. I mean, he grew
It's
up
okay.
his whole life and he really tried to impress me, and he wanted to learn the language, even though I never told him I want you to learn the language. I wasn't like that. We live in Australia, we talk English, it's okay. I don't expect anyone to do that for me. But it was romantic and lovely and sweet. And I remember he did numbers, he did the alphabet and did all that. But when
Oh,
it came to putting all the words together, it was an absolute disaster.
it's okay.
Like we went to Croatia, we're driving past, and he's Tisi Lijepa, as in the ocean. And I was like, oh, that's not, or the Adriatic Sea, sorry to say, but I just laughed. I had a little giggle because he was trying, but he just said,
That's so sweet.
even when he said, what's a lid for the saucepan for cooking, I said, poklopats. And he just couldn't stop laughing because he said, in Australian, in English, you just say lid. It's so simple. And then in that language, so yeah, for you, obviously, because you have your mother tongue and you have English, do you think that was a good advantage as well because you already understood languages on a different level?
Definitely, but it's not something really common in Spain because we all speak Spanish, so we don't need any other language to travel the world or do anything. But I was always really curious about the English language. I always liked it. And when I was little, I would watch a lot of documentaries in English. But my accent got so bad these last years because I don't use it. I never use it. And I got so used to Serbo Croatian. I can speak English at all. But yeah, I think it was an advantage, but something that I work by myself. It's really common in Spain to children like from 3 years old to maybe 18 years old go to academies. But my family couldn't afford that, so I never went to any academy. I would just, the internet was my only teacher.
It's incredible, yeah, how you've utilized that as a tool to keep you connected to the rest of the world. Like it's from this one. So tell us a little bit more about your town and your heritage and your language and your culture. Like I would love to know more about that because there's such a huge emphasis on, wow, you know how to talk our language and you know how to sing our songs and it's all about us, but it's not about you, you know, in a way of, even for your friends, like at school, what, like they were seeing these videos, what was their sort of impression, you know, being in school? Like Laura, like what language are you singing? Were they intrigued? Were they interested?
Yeah. I come from I went to a really little middle and high school. So all of my friends went with me in that process of becoming famous in social media. I don't like to say that, but let's say it in that way.
Own it. You've got to own it.
Thank you. So it was always a part of my life in a really natural way. And so no one was surprised because everything was so little, like as I said before. But now that I started university, a couple of like a month and a half ago, I explain this story every single day because always there's someone wanting to know it and no one understands it. But it's okay. I like to explain it.
It makes sense to you. That's all that matters, right? That's
Yeah, thank you.
I think a lot of things we do in our life, especially as girls, won't make sense to other people, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
Your visions or your creations, or it won't make sense to the maybe to your immediate family and your friends. And you actually feel more understood maybe somewhere else or online or that like you're nearest, but they're the ones, I guess, who want to shield you and protect you and keep you grounded. But I just think fly high, like just fly high. But
all these years, I've been hearing from my family, my friends, you have to stop. You have to to not focus so much on that path because it's not going anywhere. And yeah, but I always had my dream and I always managed. I've been managing like 5 years or 4 years, like having both social media and studying and also working because I also work. I'm such a famous girl. And I always managed to do it because I always had this dream. And with something fulfills your soul, you just not do it. You have to do it.
So it's
Since you
obviously
find it.
it's obviously a flame inside of you, and
Yeah.
it's burning bright. And why should you? And if anything, I think when people say, or you shouldn't, or don't, or it's not going anywhere, they're more projecting their own insecurities.
Yeah.
Or like maybe they're like dreams they didn't get to achieve or things they're not doing. And then when they see you doing it, they're right. Instead of saying, yeah, go and lower it, oh, I don't think that's going anywhere. And then you're singing stage with Halid Beslic.
Yeah, it was also because of this my dream of mine. It's not the easiest way to get in relationships, and I was in a relationship with a really lovely guy for a year and a half, maybe, and we broke up a weekend before I knew the Halid Beslic concert, and we broke up because he didn't support me in my dreams. It wasn't going anywhere. We were really happy together, but it wasn't going anywhere. And a week after, I got the call from Halid Beslic manager. Yeah, I thought that was God.
That's
I'm such a believer.
but you have to believe, because in order to receive, you have to believe. So
Definitely.
you know,
But now that I've been like all alone for almost a year, it's not really easy being a woman and having such an ambitious look about the future, because I knew for a fact that if I was a man, it would be so great. Oh, you want to go to other country, you want to achieve this and that. But everybody's asking me, if you're going to be a mother, what are you going to do? And I'm like, first of all, did you ask me if I want to be a mother? I want to, but that should be the first question if you ask that sort of things.
That's look, I can relate to that on so many levels, because I'm growing up in the Balkans, and just because we left the country doesn't mean the mentality stops. So
yeah,
even when I came to Australia, it was very much that as what you describe. And it's not like you said, if I was a boy, like Beyonce song, if I was a boy, it wouldn't be a problem. It would be, you'd be touring all over the place, you'd be supported, people would be throwing money at you. But because you're a girl, it's that sense of, oh, she's pretty, she's cute, let's just keep her over there. Let's keep her. It's like, but honestly, my feedback to you would be, you literally have 235,000 on TikTok. Your videos, let's just put it in context, guys, for people who don't know about you. I don't know why they wouldn't so far. 6.7 million likes.
Yeah.
That's huge numbers. On Instagram, you have 92.5 thousand followers.
And everyone is from the Balkans. I only have Balkan public, which I think it's so great.
And then on YouTube, you have 4,390, I think, followers. So it's the numbers are staggering. So I think the next time someone tells you can't or you shouldn't or what's wrong with you or whatever, tries to diagnose you with the problem, you just need to go back to those numbers and just, like, you know what, that one opinion out of, let's say, 300,000 opinions actually doesn't matter.
No, at all. And that's what I told you before. I know for a fact that if I was men, this would not be happening, because always happened. Like, men have their career, there have been football players, there have been singers, there have been everything, and they just have their woman, their wife, to do everything. So I'm so sorry to say it in that way, but if I accustom to be a famous, successful singer in the Balkans, sigurno I will be performing all over Europe maybe in the US, maybe in Australia. And why wouldn't have a supporting husband who wants to take care of all those
Correct.
things?
Correct. And you will have
I mean,
you will have the money and the resources.
I will have
Your
the
mum,
money.
now
I
that
will
your
be
mum
bringing it to the table.
and your mama, she's gonna be grandma. Is that abuela? Is that how you say it? Is that
In Spanish, yeah.
Spanish? Okay. See, I'm Spanish so bad. I need to educate myself.
It's okay. You said it really well,
You know,
actually.
like your mama, it's like she's with you. You're gonna have support. You will have the
Mm.
resources. How does anybody do it? How does any famous female singer in the world have a family and continue to do what they love? It's no different. And when you say when you make it, it's you already have. Like in my eyes, I think you've already made it. And I think just that
Oh.
mindset of I already have. And does it suck? I have to do a little bit of a job and still study. And yes, all that's going to change. All that
That's it.
will change. So where are you at the moment? Tell us what you're studying. Tell us, what you're studying. Tell us also a bit more about your ancestry and your culture that you are very passionate about and talk about online.
I'm Galician, and this is really hard to explain because I think as we are really lucky, we didn't go to any war in the last century. In that way, we're really lucky. Not a lot of people knows about us. I don't want to be offensive, but it's I'm frustrated sometimes because everyone calls me Españolka. And it's okay that for me, Spain, it's the country where I live. And it's okay. It's super. But in the Balkans, I think people cannot understand that country is not the same as nation. In Spain, we live so many nations. We're like 4 different or even 5 if you count. Well, that's a debate. But at least we're 4 different nations with each language, each culture, each everything.
But that's
And
too. And that's ex-Yugoslavia. It's the same thing.
yeah,
If the irony of the whole situation is if anyone should understand, it should be them. Because imagine you said to a Crnogorac, so you said to a Hrvat, oh, you're Serbian, right? Like a lot of people get offended. People say, are you Serbian? I'd say, no, I'm Croatian. They say, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, that's okay. I don't get offended. I just move on. And it's not my day. But so if anybody should actually understand, it should be our people. That also Spain, it's not just Spaniolka. There's so many. So tell us about your background.
And anyway, my public is always really open to listen to what I have to say about my nation. And I've recorded a lot of videos and a lot of things about Galician culture, history, and language. And everybody's so open. And now a lot of people call me Galicianka. Miesto Españolka. But it sounds so sweet.
That's awesome.
That's really great. And actually, that's it. We're a nation and we live in Spain since the year we're part of Spain since the year 1490. That's how you say, right? 1490. Yeah. Because we lost the war. So Isabella de Castilla, when Spain didn't exist, it started to exist, took the territory of Galicia, and till nowadays it is a part of Spain. You can see some kind of debate because a lot of people want independence. Just like in Catalonia, but in Catalonia, it's a more famous topic because of how much power Catalonia has as a region. Galicia is a really poor region. So that's why you will not be hearing about it so much. It's like Catalonia. And honestly, I don't think independence is going to take us anywhere as we live nowadays, because borders has changed. The meaning of border of a country has changed so much. I don't think it's the same thing maybe before First World War. It will be a really different situation. But I will always speak for our freedom to speak our language, which we didn't have till the year 1982.
Wow.
It was forbidden, like, I'm so bad at numbers, sexto godina.
Wow.
Sexto godina, or yes, it was forbidden. Yeah, that's not that's not beautiful.
Yes. And how different is the language to traditional Spanish? How
It's a Roman language, which means it comes from Latin, just like French, just like Italian, just like Catalonian. And it is, there is another debate because it's just like Portuguese. And a lot of people say it is the same language. Some people think it's not the same language. If you ask my opinion, I support that it is the same language because anytime I hear Portuguese from Angola, from Brazil, for any country, actually, what I'm hearing is my mother tongue. And the same difference that we have from someone from Oporto and from Coruña, my city, is the same that I hear from Ourense and Coruña, which Ourense is in Galicia, Oporto is in Portugal.
Got you.
And actually, my faculty, like my university, it exists Spanish philology, English philology, French philology, and then Galician Portuguese philology. Also, they are not the same language officially. There's so much alike. Even nowadays, we only have one career, one degree. I think that speaks a lot.
Yeah, speaks a lot. Fascinating. So what are you studying at your university?
You mean like the subjects? Or...
Yeah.
I don't know if, because I do everything in Galician, so I don't know if I will be translating it okay, but like linguistic theory, then like the start of literature history, and then because we're so many like little people, like little number, we all are together, Spanish, English, and Galician Portuguese philology. So I have to study Spanish, I have to study English.
Oh God, that is a lot of things all happening all at once.
Yeah, and we are we really work good together. The people from Galician degree want to study Galician, and the people from English degree want to study English.
Well, that's
so now I have to study English, even though it's not my real desire, but I like it, and I really like it, so it's okay.
I think you're doing incredibly well, balancing so many different nuances and balancing so many different levels of learning. And
thank you.
And plus your music, and now traveling, and battling sort of those sexist views, and then also the cultural. Yeah, there's a lot going on in your world at the moment, and then also a breakup and singing with Halid on stage.
But that's nothing.
That's nothing. Oh, that's nothing. That's just this small thing. But so how long do you plan on staying at home? So how long is your degree? How long is your studies for? When does that finish? And what's beyond that?
Yeah, it takes formally 4 years to do this degree. But if you want to, you can say, I don't know, 6, 5 years, which I expect it will not be happening. But if it happens, it's okay. No one is going to ask me how many years it took. That just doesn't happen at all. And anyways, I'm studying this degree because I want to have some studies, because even though I not come from a migrant family, we had to come from our village to the city. And even just that is like a kind of a cultural shock. I could feel it when I was a 3-4 year old, how I had different, I came from a different culture, even though there's just like 3 hours from my village to the city where I live. And my whole family, they don't study anything. I don't want to say they're nepismeni, but
and so I always given you those opportunities, haven't they? But moving away, it's about you guys.
I know it was so hard for my mother and for my grandmother to do it, even though it's just a 3-hour distance. It's a really total different world, a different language, because when they came to the city, it was still forbidden to talk Galician in public. So I'm the first one studying at university, and I really like it, but I'm doing it just because I want to honor them. I want to take that opportunity, and I want to work at something that I like. But yeah, that's my plan B. My plan A is music.
That's right. And look, you're still so young, and you have the whole world at your feet.
There's
nothing wrong with exploring different things and having a plan A and a B and a C, and it's always something that you can fall back on, that you can access, and it's also a learning journey. linguistics. Like it's also with your singing and everything. I think it will complement each other very nicely. So you can just follow the breadcrumbs and see where it takes you. But I think being, I guess, an outsider and watching you sing, it's your gift, right? So how did you actually find your voice? How did you realize you had a nice voice? Like how does do you sing when you're a kid? Okay, we all sing in the shower, but it doesn't all mean we're singers. So when was that? Was there a moment that you realized I'm a singer or I could do this for real? Or was it just a natural progression?
Thank you so much for telling me I have a nice voice. I really appreciate it. Thank you. You're so sweet. But actually, like no one in my family, not even my father's side. Oh, because I'm sorry, I didn't say this, but the backgrounds of my parents are pretty different. My mother comes from a village in Galicia. We're only Galician peoples, but my father is from Castilla, which is the original place where Spanish came from. Spanish is actually imperialistic name for the language. It is Castilian language because it comes from Castilla.
Wow.
But it's okay if you call it Spanish. It's not progressional, but it comes from Castilla in Aragon. And my father is from Castilla, but he lives here in Coruña. That's where he met my mother. And they are divorced since I was born. Mm-hmm. So I'm an actual bilingual because a lot of people in Galicia can talk both Galician and Spanish, but they don't use both. I use both because of my parents. Mm-hmm. They come from these different backgrounds. My father comes from not a rich family, but a rich family. Nowadays, because of Franco and everything and the dictator, they don't have money anymore. Mm-hmm. But they come from a real good status family. And none of them, my mother from the village and my father from the big city, had any musical background, not at all. So I did not learn to sing at home, but just in the Balkans, everybody has like their grandfather svira harmoniku, ili tetka pjeva, ili ono kod mene ništa. With me, it's not the case. And when I was 6 years old, my father bought me the CD Loud from Rihanna. Mm-hmm. I'm from their generation where it's really close to being a god. She's amazing, and I just grew up with her. And I remember hearing those songs and finding out that when I would sing them, I would feel so great. But everybody would tell me that I sing really bad, that it's not for me. Yeah. Everybody told me like, okay, Laura, you like to sing, but just don't do it in public because you can do it. It's not your thing.
But you didn't have, it's not like you come from a situation where you had singing lessons or singing classes or you had somebody helping you or, like you said, the grandfather or the uncle or the grandma or somebody to say, or do it like this or do it like that. So good on you for being that small of child and actually still just continuing despite people telling you you're bad. I like that's please do that a lot though. Like when you have something that you like, it's you're not good. I don't know. I feel like families are a little bit like that, unfortunately, like everywhere. Did you have any siblings, Laura? Did you have sisters or brothers?
That's a complicated topic because I have 3, but at the same time, I have no siblings at all. I always have these jokes that my parents really like to be in bed.
That's okay.
They really like to socialize. They're all
That's okay. Look, we don't. Sometimes it's chosen family as well. It doesn't always related.
So. But no, I consider myself as an only child. I don't have no siblings, but the siblings that I have don't really like music at all. I have a little how do you say, half sister? Mm-hmm. How do you say that?
Half sister. Yeah.
And she really likes dance. She's really good at it. She's 10 years old and she's so good at it. So since when I watch her, I cannot believe it, how good she is. But not about the singing and they don't care. Like my family is the one supporting me. It's my mom, but everybody else is not. really in the topic.
And how does your mum feel now about your singing? And like you said, she's been to Sarajevo now before she's seeing these opportunities are coming towards you. What is her perception now of the whole thing? Would they much rather that you sing traditional songs with your mother tongue in your language, or how is it there?
Yeah. I even tried to have a career in Galician music when I was like 15 years old, because everybody was pressing me. Since you sing so well, because I've been taking singing classes for almost 10 years now. So at the time, like people would start to telling me, oh, you have a good voice and everything. And I don't think I have a talent, honestly.
Really? So you don't think you have a talent?
For singing, no.
Really?
I don't think so.
Okay. So what's a talented person to you then? Like when you see someone out there, what would be somebody, I guess, that we all know, where you would say, oh, they're talented, they're a good singer?
I think you have to know the case and you have to know the person. But I think by myself, I can say when it is a talent and when it happens because the person wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of singers, and not only in Balkans, like everywhere. For example, Rosalia, you know who Rosalia is, right?
Yeah.
I admire her so much. She's like my role model for everything. And she doesn't have the best voice ever. She's not Celine Dion. She's not Beyonce. But she has such an emotion and she has such a desire to sing that now she managed to know, because every voice, if you train it, like if you actually train it, you take it seriously and you try to manage what is good for you, you can have a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
You just have to search. It doesn't come naturally.
Yes. Yeah. There would be a lot of those. And I actually watched her documentary, and she was her own manager until, many years. Like she was the manager, she was the performer, she was all of it. And that really blew me away, because she didn't want anybody managing her brand or her music. She was the best representation. And I actually really like her work ethic and her drive. And yeah, it's incredible. So I'm glad you actually mentioned her, because that was one thing I took away.
We love her.
Yeah.
She's a queen.
It's like what you said, you can have the best voice and you can be the most talented person in the world, but you can be poor for the rest of your life. Because if you don't have that attitude, that go-getter attitude, then how are you going to get anywhere, right? So what are some ways that you're putting yourself on TikTok and YouTube and all of that? Do you have any other, so is it a strategy now? Do you look for opportunities? Are you just taking it easy, letting things come to you? What's your approach towards the whole thing?
It's not a secret. I'm in social media because I wanted to become famous in the Balkans, and I'm using social media. I don't really like social media. Now I'm an expert, but I don't want to be an influencer. That's not the case. But yeah, I'm trying to gain popularity in the Balkans because I learned, I don't know in a bad way, but I learned that the only thing that matters is is the public you have, how many people know about you. And at the start, I really tried to do like quality videos with quality songs, quality, and it doesn't work like that. I'm so sorry. You could choose to do only quality content, but it's not always the case if you want to become famous. And now I think it is working after all of these years, because I didn't, as I said before, I didn't just woke up one day and, I was so famous. Everybody was telling me to do interviews and to do no, it didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
That was a long way, and it's a path that it's continuing with something. It takes a lot of discipline. For 2 or 3 years, I remember when I was in Bacharelato, I would be like studying and managing like things, and then filming myself, and I wouldn't get views at all. And sometimes I thought, what am I doing this? And I just continued to nowadays. And actually, without social media, I would not be singing with Halid Beslic, and I would not be singing in the Dom Army in Sarajevo as I did weeks ago. So I think it's working, but I hope social media will not be my path forever.
Oh, correct. And what you said, the amazing thing is, I like what you mentioned there, is like what you were saying, you were uploading videos. And I think this can apply to any craft or anybody doing anything.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
when you're doing stuff and you think, oh, no one's even noticing. Do I even bother? The key is just to keep believing in yourself in that drive, because you almost had something driving you, like just to continue to keep on going.
Yeah.
And then in a way it led you. But then even though you sang on a big stage and you had your debut with Halid and you just went to Sarajevo a couple of weeks ago as well, I saw you still uploading videos. That's the thing. You didn't just go home. You didn't just go home and say, oh, my work's done. That's Halid. I think anybody can really look up to you in that way of there's the talent and then there's the work ethic. And from what you tell me about your family is like it hasn't been easy beginnings. It's been more humble. And therefore you are having to, because you didn't just have like privilege, like being born at Hilton and that's it. And then all of a sudden you're famous because everyone knows your last name. So you really had to make a name for yourself. But what was it like when you went to, because it was the first time you traveled on an airplane, is that correct?
Not in an airplane, because I went to Paris when I was 14 years old.
Gotcha.
But it was the first time I saw on a snow.
Yeah. That is so cool.
It was the first time my mother traveled and went into how do you say the word?
Avion, yeah.
Avion, yeah.
Avion. There's so many words.
There's so many words. Yeah, it's okay.
So what was that experience like going to Sarajevo, going to Bosnia? Like all of a sudden, all these visions you had are coming to light. What was that like?
As I told you, it was, I don't want to say a hard period because it wasn't a hard period, but I just broke up with my first relationship. And it was really hard for me because I come from a really unstable family and household. And for the first time, I had a family. I knew what it was having a family. So for me to break up with him was to breaking up with his family. And that's, I left all alone. I started to live alone again. And I also was working. I was really happy. I'm really happy at my work. But I thought like, where am I even going? What's happening? I thought it was just me. I felt alone in the way that I felt it was only me supporting me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't want to have that ego image like, oh, thank me for believing in me because I did. No, I don't want that, because it's not in that way. But I really felt like that. And then Vladimir Cholakovic did this interview for me. He's such a good interviewer. He's such a professional, such a good soul, a beautiful soul. And then, as I told you, I broke up. I was in this state like, okay, I will keep working, gaining money to go to university. And I would just, I was like accepting the fact that I will never go to the Balkans. Or maybe it would take me 5 years to go to the Balkans. Because by myself, with my economic situation, it would not be happening. You know?
It all adds up because you've got airplane tickets, you've got flying within Europe, you've got a hotel, you've got food, you've got and plus
that's a lot of stuff.
And then if you haven't been invited to sing anywhere, then it's all like I'm going. But there's got to be something that comes out of it also too. So yes, it's beautiful to have a holiday and a trip, but like you said, with being you and your mum and you're studying, you're a student, I can totally relate, to that, because even when we came here, I was a student. I didn't have enough money. There were some people in the community here, they were going back to Bosnia and Croatia and other parts of Balkans every year. They were going all as whereas for us, I was, to put it in context, 11 when I came here, and I didn't go back until I was 18, and my dad paid for the ticket. And then I didn't go back again until I was 26. So that's because it is such a long way. It is so expensive. And I know you're in Europe, but it doesn't matter. It's still pricey. So what was it like when you got the phone call from Halid's team? We want you to come.
I was sitting with my cousin who just had a baby, and her first Rojendan was the day of the concert.
Wow.
It was so magical in that way. And I just received because When Vladimir did this interview for me, there was like for a few days a movement. Let's take Laura to the Balkans. Everybody was telling me they would put me the carte, they would pay for me to stay, they would pay for me to sing. And I was like, I did actually post on Instagram. Thank you so much, everybody, for your beautiful comments and for your beautiful things. But I am not challenging my security because you don't know what can happen.
Yeah.
And I don't want to rush. Sanida, do you know the singer Sanida?
No, I don't.
No, you don't know Sanida. Oh, you have to. She's like she's the queen of the Balkan trap. She's the queen. She has the best lyrics, Sanida. She had her first hit, Slajana, when she was 33 years old, if I'm not wrong. So I'm not in a rush. This is not, I'm not running anywhere. And then a few days after, Vladimir contacted me and he said, Laura, I know you said you don't want to go to the Balkans in this way, but Halid Beslic contacted with me, his manager, for you to go to Sarajevo. And I was like, I remember I just read the message and I told Mom, this is happening. And my mom was like, who's that Halid Beslic? Why would he want you to go there to his concert?
He's like Michael Jackson of the Balkan. That's the popularity.
And she was like, you're not going? And I'm like, Mama, let me explain to you who's Halid Beslic.
Yeah.
You know? let me explain it to you. And at like the first month, she didn't like it at all. Like she was really nervous, she was angry all the time. What are you going? And she was like, if we go, I want to go with you. And also my husband has to go with us. And I was like, okay, I'm going to ask them. Her husband came. And it was great. It was, I don't have words to explain it. Like it was happening after all of these years. I've been like half of my life dreaming about it and it was happening. And also I got to know that I can actually speak the language.
Yeah.
Because I went to Sarajevo and everything was just so clear, no. So it was just happening. So I knew, okay, I learned the language in the good way, in the right way.
Yeah. That's incredible.
I can use it.
On your own too. Come on. I have to share a clip, okay? Hang on. I have to. This is just the coolest thing. Let me turn on the speaker, guys. All right, hang on.
Okay.
All right, hang on. Because I know so many people, maybe some people, I don't know. I'm assuming everybody's been watching you and following your journey, but I'm sure haven't, and that's okay. We will forgive them. After this interview, they'll know more. All right.
That's me.
Oh my goodness. The crowd goes wild. Okay, let's see what he says. I have goosebumps. Literally, I just had to play that because I wanted people to understand, to hear the cheering and hear the crowd. Like I got goosebumps you because I'm a creative person as well, and I have my own business and I have to be self-driven and I have to create opportunities for myself. And yes, sometimes you are the only person backing yourself when other people say you can't or you shouldn't, or there's so many obstacles for a girl. And watching you up on stage, and you were just like, it was like you've been there for 100 years, quite literally.
Oh, thank you.
You didn't look like somebody who was on a big stage for the first time, especially in a foreign country and in a foreign language. How did that feel when you were actually, because you were doing so much on the phone before, so you were like connected but disconnected because it was over the phone. But how did it feel actually to have these humans screaming and clapping and yelling and reaching out for you?
First of all, I really feel much more comfortable singing in Serbo-Croatian than in any other language. So I was really like calm in that way because it just feels really not for me, really natural. And in other way, I will never forget because when you like to sing, you have the best Super Bowl performance in your bedroom. It always happens. And I will always say, Pakase! And no one says nothing, obviously, because there's no one in the room. And then when I sang Pusti Pusti Modu, actually, I don't know if I said this before, but I chose Miljačka and Halid Beslic chose Pusti Pusti Modu. That's how it went.
Yeah.
And when I sang Pusti Pusti Modu, like a song that everybody knows, that's a really easy song to sing. And then I said, Pakase, that was true. And the sound, there's a video of it. I'm like in a trance because I couldn't believe how loud the people, I could feel their energy.
Wow.
I know it's a really famous song, but I was so happy that I would see in their eyes how they were enjoying, how they were feeling. And that's the best gift as a singer, as a performer, when you see the people are feeling it. When you make, this is cruel, but when you're a singer and you make someone cry, it feels like the best because you woke up those emotions in them. And as an artist, that's what you wanted. That's what you want.
Definitely, 100%, because that energy that you're getting is feeding you as well, right? To get do even better and go harder and give more energy back. So it's that exchange that's happening of you being on stage and then being in the audience. That's incredible. And just watching you even 2 weeks ago in Sarajevo and watching your journey. And how does it feel to be with the people there? Do you ever sometimes think, oh my God, how did I get here? Wow. Do you sometimes have those moments, or does it just feel like, oh, wow, everything's like the water's parting for me? And it feels very natural?
Yeah. I have to say, I'm talking from a privilege because the life that I had in the Balkans for those opportunities is not like a real everyday life in the Balkans. So I'm talking from a privileged position. I want to say that first. But it really felt both times because the first trip, because of Halid Beslic, and this last trip were really different. And this second time, I think I could like meet Sarajevo and meet their people, meet how they live. Like I meet it really. And it just feels so natural that in some way, I cannot wait to live there for a longer period to start seeing the problems, because it was so natural for me how the people are, and it's not for everybody. In a week, I saw how all of my friends and maybe all of my familiars would not manage the lifestyle because people are really close to each other. And in Galicia also, the people say we're really cold. Not like the way we are. We're really cold. And it's not like that in Sarajevo. And I'm sure it's not like that in Beograd or even in Zagreb. I've not been there, but I'm sure it's not like that. So I don't know, it just feels really comfortable. And you know what? Hearing the language, listening to the language, talking the language all day long, it feels like a holiday, like a mental holiday. And when I'm living here and I'm speaking Galician all day long, I don't have the feeling of something is going wrong. I don't have the feeling. That's my mother tongue. But when I'm talking in Bosnian, Serbo-Croatian all day long, everything just feels so great and so good. And actually, from this last trip, I didn't make friends, but I met in person people I knew before, and I had these long conversations with a lot of people. And when I went back to Coruña, to my hometown, I just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Because if I stop to think about it, I think I'm going to get into not a depression, but almost.
Yes.
And my mom all the time, she's like, oh my God, I miss so much Sarajevo. And how do you say this? And how do you say that? Okay, I'm not going to say it anymore. Because she's asking me like, how did you manage to, for 5 years, know this language and waste so much time? And I was like, because I didn't have other option.
Yeah.
And
You know, and it wasn't even wasted when you think about it, because if anything, now when you look back, because you can connect the dots now of your life, and when you look back, you think that was the building blocks, that was the foundation that you were building upon those 5 years. Because a lot of people just think when you make it, oh, you just got there like overnight. But for you, it was this progression and having to do videos when you didn't feel like it, and putting yourself out there, even when there was 0 likes or 6 million likes. So it's good on you for being persistent and just believing.
Thank you.
When no one else did. That's massive. That not many people have that internal drive. And when I talk to people and I do coaching with them and they tell me about their issues and their problems, it's always, yeah, how do I get this thing? And it's actually boring. It's yeah, because for you it's 5 years like doing the same thing over and over and over again, and not having the opportunities you have now. So how?
But I always believe it. I always love like Disney princess movies, and Cinderella was all day like, if you work for it and if you dream about it, one day it will come. And I always thought, maybe she's lying, maybe she's not, maybe there's a message in that film, a part of making money, maybe there is actually a message. And I always believe in myself, and I always did everything. I never stopped studying just for doing covers, for example. That didn't happen. I never stopped working because I do gain a little bit because of social media, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But just for my little things, if I go to the club and if I don't know, I go for dinner, I can pay by myself, but that's everything I can pay because of social media.
That's right. Yeah, because you're not relying on other people to fund you or support you. And it's great when people reach out and they want to help you and they want to. But then as well, yeah, it makes you like vulnerable to maybe negative energy or that as well, which I can totally understand. How for you, what is next for you? What is the big time, the ultimate plan? I know you said to be a famous singer on the Balkans, but I don't think you would just be famous over there, as in Europe. I think you're going to be famous everywhere for the Balkan people. So
thank you.
Like, for example, I'm in Australia and my mum's here and all my family's here and we all know about you. And then obviously you've got Balkan people in Canada, you've got Balkan people in America. So I think that's actually too small of a dream. Like, oh, I just want to go to the Balkans and be famous. You know? I'm like, well, what about us? Hello, what about down?
Yeah, the diaspora.
And also the two-ended question. So what's next and what are the big time plans and what is your wishes and desires for yourself? And then also second question, is there pressure to matchmake you with somebody? Because I know what Balkan people are like. Let's have a boyfriend. Let me as an this guy. Does that happen a lot as well?
It happened. How many times when I was in Sarajevo, like young men will ask me to marry them. Like so natural. Udaj se za mene, ali onako. Udaj se za mene, yeah. Like, I know it's a joke, but in the first place, I don't know how to say it, but I'm putting it in God to say in it some way, because now I cannot really do much more about my career in the Balkans. Just the opportunity to go to Sarajevo to the Halid Beslic concert, and also this last time in the Dome Army and everything. I mean, I really think that's like a little reward from God. Like, you did it right. I'm going to let these people know about you today to contact you. I have that kind of mindset. So I'm letting it to God. Whatever is coming that I find okay and that I want, I will take it. Now I'm trying to focus on university. Because I think it's time, and university, I don't know, I think it's like that all around the world. But if maybe I do 2 years, right? I do 2 years and something happens that I move to the Balkans. If when I'm 40 years old, I want to finish my degree, I only have to do the last 2 years. So maybe I do not finish my degree because 4 years can happen in a lot of things in 4 years. But I'm focusing in that. When I say I'm focusing in that, it's like I'm taking all of my time to do that. Every day is the morning I go to classes and then I go to the library to study and then I sleep. That's what it is. It's not my favorite lifestyle. It's not where I'm the happiest, but that's what I have to work. That's my work right now, even though it's not funded, that's my work. And I obviously have some projects like for the future months, but I always want to keep it private since it isn't 100% finished. But yeah, definitely my public can expect some big things coming.
Oh my God. You're keeping us in suspense. Oh my
yeah. Like, you know how difficult it was for me to not say that I was performing with Halid Beslic?
Yeah.
It was the hardest thing ever. And now this thing that maybe happens, I hope it happens, this big project, I don't bite my nails, but I do like biting my nails all day to just go as it has to. Because if it happens, oh my God.
That is awesome. Can you tell us what area it's happening in?
Definitely singing. It's all music, just everything. Yeah. I'm so excited. Everything has to be on their own time. And if it doesn't happen, I always think that's God protecting me.
Yeah.
I want to believe it in that way. But yeah, I have projects, but for now, let's say I'm just going to university.
You know what? I think you deserve it. And I hope that whatever comes next and comes your way is, everything that you wish for it to be and more. And also with your music, obviously, like you were saying, you don't want to sing covers forever. So is your goal to write your own songs? Or
definitely
other people write your songs? Like, what is the ultimate goal there in terms of like from a musician aspect?
The person who I would want to be like the most is Jelena Tobašević, because she has her own hits, she has her own songs, but she sings a lot of traditional music, which is like my first love. I would never like to stop singing traditional Balkan music, just Dalinka or Starogradske and that sort of type of music. But I've been writing my own songs for a long time. When I was a Galician singer, I would write my own songs and also for other Galician singers.
Amazing.
So it was really cool. And I think, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I hope before I have my own songs, I write songs for other singers. That's how I think it would work the most. Emina Jahovic, she's from Novi Pazar. She has written so many hits, and a lot of people doesn't know she has wrote them. Yeah, definitely it would be my music, but it wouldn't be a priority. I don't want to be the type of singer who's every 2 or 3 months going with a new song, and maybe it's like my dream, my goal. I don't know how it's going to be, but I would like maybe to have less number of songs, but to really focus on every song, because I don't know, every song is like a whole word.
So yeah, it's a lot of stuff coming out of your brain and your soul, and it's a lot of energy and time and effort, and you don't want to just become this McDonald's franchise where you just
that's it. Yeah,
you want quality over quantity, and I think you're going to have such a bright future ahead. And
thank you.
Can't wait to see you down under. I can't wait to see you all over the world, really, because I see you and I see your determination and your drive and your people skills, also your voice paired with the guitar. Also, you know how to write. I think options are endless for you. And also because the Balkan is such a niche community, such a specific community that's like very underrepresented. So it's who from the Balkans has made it anywhere else. Transitioned, like Rosalia, she transitioned from her music and her culture
Yeah.
and her language, she managed to actually make it in the US.
She's a queen.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But it took her so many years to get there. So I would love to
Yeah.
see something like that happen within the Balkans. I'm not saying everybody needs to be like that and America is the be all and end all, but it would be great for more people outside of us to know these songs and that there's this talent
Definitely.
somewhere else. Because all we're seeing is just this very minority representation, like British singers and American singers, Aussie singers. You know, it's like here, not that many people even know, okay, they watch Eurovision, but they don't know any of those performers or presenters. They don't know. They only know the big stuff, like the big hits. So I can just see it one day. I'm going to turn on the radio and it's going to be you. And I'll be like,
Oh, thank you.
my podcast, like, I'm going to get an autograph, a virtual autograph. But tell me, as we finish up, what inspires you the most? What are some of your inspirations? And it can be anything. And also, do you have a favorite song, a favorite artist, or a favorite song?
I would also like to say that for me, my biggest goal is I grew up as a singer in the Balkans. It's for not be a foreign person forever. I don't want, when I was in Sarajevo this last time and I would walk in Bešlić, like a lot of people knew my name and it was so beautiful and so strange. But some people will call me just Španjolka. And it is okay. It is great. It's already like a really good marketing for me to be Španjolka. But I don't want everyone to know me just because, oh, that girl from Spain who sings her songs. I would like to manage it in that way that I afford or that I give so much to the Balkan music community that people don't see me as a foreign person. But just I want people to see me like I'm not from the diaspora, because obviously I'm not from the diaspora, but not take me from someone who's not from the Balkans.
Yeah.
I obviously not from the Balkans. I never lived in the Balkans, but I actually never use it in my videos. Španjolka, Vinicada. Ne želim to da I don't want it to be my name.
Yeah.
And the last time I performed, it was because of Spanish National Day. But I just sang one song in Spanish. It was so funny. And that's what I'm saying. My biggest goal is for people to recognize me as who I am. And maybe that's just dreaming a lot, but maybe next generations, if I have a stable career, they should not maybe even know that I'm from Spain, because I would just be Laura Marin in their lives. Yeah, that's my biggest goal.
Right. And I think that will eventuate, like because you're still living overseas, I think once you eventually start to live there and you start to integrate with the people and you become this household name and you will get to that. It's only just because they have been consuming you so much online. So then when you do come to the town, it's like, hey, the Spaniolkas.
Yeah.
And also they like to categorize, like even when I go there, like, oh,
that's really sweet. It doesn't offend me at all. It's not something.
I hate it too, because when I would tell the taxi driver, like, where are you guys from? And my husband's Australia. Or, they straight away categorize you as Australka, and you're like, I'm not Australka, really, like I'm from here. So I can understand that 100%. Like, and what are some inspirations, that help you in your everyday life? Obviously, you have a good faith in God and a good faith within yourself. And that's really important when you do anything good foundation. But what are some other inspirations that drive you? And also, what are your favorite song and your favorite artist, if you have one?
Okay. My whole life, even before I knew anything about the Balkans, I really took some singers as role models. When you come from an unstable household situation, you just can watch television and think, okay, this future is possible for me. You have to dream. I would have, I'm sorry to say that in this way, but I would have killed myself if I couldn't dream. Dream has saved me in my whole life. And for people from the diaspora, I'm sure it's the same case. When you come from a difficult background, you just can dream. And I've always dreamed, always. And nowadays, my inspirations, because I'm the kind of person, not everybody has to be in this way, but I'm the kind of person who, when I like an artist, I have to like them as a person, like how they talk, in the way they talk, how they express themselves, not just the music. It can be just the music, but nowadays I listen a lot to Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey. Because she also comes from a really difficult environment, and she has no problem saying how she had problems with alcohol when she was really young, and how she always continued till video games in 2012, if I'm not wrong, came famous. Also, Björk. I don't know if she's famous in Australia. Björk.
Yes.
She's a really good inspiration for me because of how raw she expresses emotions. Like sometimes I'm young and love can hurt sometimes. But just hearing to their songs, it just calmed me. It's okay to feel this way, because if Björk had felt this way, it's okay. Also, Rosalia, I just love her so much. And I love how she's so true to herself, even though she's in the elite of, I don't know where she lives, but in the US, she's so true to herself. And in the Balkans, now this is happening that I know literally my biggest inspirations, which is the Aludilo. But I would say Amira Megunyani definitely is someone who I would like to, someone who I see as a role model, as I say, Jelena Tomašević. But the one who has my heart and who had my heart this whole time is Lepa Brena.
Oh my God, I would love to see you guys on stage together.
That's, I don't know if that's going to happen. Like, Lepa Brena, you can call me.
I can't believe I didn't watch her when she came to Australia. I can't remember how long ago it was. I was so disappointed. I don't know where I was, what I was doing. But imagine if like they traveled around and you got to be the supporting act.
It would be so great.
Like, because we watched Dino Medellin here when he came pre-COVID, and oh my God, like the atmosphere and the vibe, like obviously there isn't as many people here in the community where I am. It's a little beachy town. It's not a little beachy town. It's quite a big city, but it has beach. And then Brisbane is the next nearest city, which is a little bit bigger. So we don't have as much of a big Balkan community as Sydney and Melbourne do, and Perth and the other bigger cities. But I tell you what, the energy in that room, and I was pregnant with my son, like only about 3.
Oh my God.
And my best friend is like, don't jump, are you going to be okay? I'm like, how can I not jump? And just watching the guy perform on stage at his age, the way he sounded, it was smooth like butter. It was better than like hearing it on the radio. So
oh my God.
I can just picture you with more collaborations and linking arms with all of your favorite people, and also singing, and then being your own artist, being Laura, not being Spaniolka, not being this, not being that. It's like you, and not having these labels, and really just being truly supported. So obviously the goal would be to get signed by somebody, and to continue creating music. And I would encourage you to share your own music too. Like, I would love to hear it, because I think at this stage people have already gotten to know you so well online that if you were to bring it out, they would like it because it's you. It's no longer you know, these songs. I think you are getting away from that because people like you. It's what you like another artist is what people like about you. So I think just keep being yourself. And the message today, I think the takeaway from all the listeners is, ladies, it's free to dream. Like, dreaming is free.
Yeah. And please do dream. That's what saved me, literally. Do dream, please. Please.
That's right. And wholeheartedly, I back you up on that. Dreaming is free. My husband always says to me, oh, babe, that sounds crazy. And I'm just like, you know what? That to somebody it's crazy, and to somebody they make it happen. So I think
literally, like, everyone has haters. Like, in every story that you can tell, everybody, like, someone did not support that person. That always happens. I don't know how people expect to achieve things without chasing those things. It's just part of the path.
Yeah, that's right. And you are a really big inspiration to any
Thank you.
ladies, to any aspiring, even young boys, anybody who's aspiring to be anything and anybody in this world. And it's like you matter and your contribution matters, and just keep believing.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for
That's so
the
sweet.
podcast. I appreciate you. I really do. You got up super early. I know you have a lot on your plate. You're also going to university today. So I'm really grateful for you. So stay on. We'll take a photo and I'll stop recording. But yeah, thank you for listening to another episode.
Oh, thank you so much for calling me. It was such a great time. I just can see an hour and a half passed.
That's
What's
right. Well, this is the Balkan way, right? I should get like
This is the Balkan way. That's how I like it.
Awesome. Stay online, and yeah, we'll send everybody big love, big hugs
Yeah.
for the diaspora
Puno ljubavi.
all around the world. And make sure, so Laura, can you tell people where they can find you and connect with you if they want to work with you, if they want to bring you to Australia, or if simply they just want to follow you?
You can find me in TikTok and Instagram just as Zovem se Laura, which means my name is Laura. Because of my surname, everybody was calling me Marina. So I say, okay, let's put it in. Zovem se Laura. This is a statement. And you can find me as Zovem se Laura in Instagram and in TikTok. And in YouTube, just search for Laura Marin and you definitely will find something. And if you want to collaborate with me, just go to my DMs. I'm my own manager. That's not the best, but that's how it is.
Hey, you know what? That's the best way, because the only person that's going to back you, like you said throughout this interview, is you. So I just encourage for anybody who's listening to this to share it with your friends, share it with your family. Go on YouTube, go on Insta, go on TikTok. If you type in even Laura and Halid Beslic, the performance is up there. And also your latest debut as well in Sarajevo 2 weeks ago. All your stuff is on there. They literally just have to Google you.
And stay tuned for what's coming. I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
So excited. Oh my God. I'm
Awesome.
also that type of person. I didn't share it with nobody. I want to keep a secret, not for my public, but for the people in my life.
Hey, you know what? It's like the anticipation before the goal. Even when you're watching football, it's all the anticipation, the build up to the goal. So I think it's healthy to build a bit of anticipation, a bit of suspense, and that's everything to look forward to. So we can't wait to see what you do next. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much.
So that was the episode. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And as ever, if you did, please consider sharing it with your loved ones and leaving me a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. It really does make a difference to the number of Balkan sisters that we can reach with the brilliant wisdom that my guests and I share. Thanks for being here. I do viđenja.